Hello and welcome to another episode of Buzz TV. I have with me today station manager of KCC Radio, Dan Spelman.
Thank
Hello,
you.
Dan.
Hi, nice to meet you. How are you doing?
I'm alright, thanks. How are you?
I'm not too bad, you know. I got a bit lost coming here, but the whole facility is absolutely amazing.
Would you just like to tell us a bit about your background and how you got into radio and like?
Yeah, so it's a bit of a long one, so I'll try and shorten it down for those sort of watching at home. So I joined KCC Live in 2011, so it was literally 10 years ago, a couple of weeks ago. I joined as part of, funny enough, I was sort of a naughty kid at school, didn't really know what I wanted to do. I was messing around, class clown. And I remember going into Knowsley Community College where the station was based, and one of the presenters there who now works for BBC, Dave North, was doing like this pop-up stand. And I remember just going, what's KCC Live? What's this radio thing? Because I've heard about it being from Knowsley quite a lot. So I was like, right, I'll go and go over to and talk to this guy who's really friendly. Didn't even know he was on air at this point. And I just got chatting to him and I thought, I'll go and sign up. So I was 15 when I signed up, and from there, I just sort of, as well as doing like a media course at the college, I was sort of being able to do units of me work through KCC as well. So I got to like balance them two things, and then there was cool opportunities behind the scenes. So like getting to work behind the scenes at like Radio City Summer Live, part of the college and KCC, and then getting to work with like Fusion Festival, going to interview all these like amazing artists. I just got a real buzz for it. So yeah, that's how I sort of started with it, and then it's funny at KCC you go through three phases. You're the volunteer who just wants to do shows and learn as much as you can and be this sponge of information, and then with these people around you. And then I sort of just got to this point where I started mentoring a lot of people, and I started enjoying that side of it. And then in 2019 I was asked to coordinate the station on a sort of temporary basis, and then we sort of started working with MD Creatives in 2020, and I became station manager from there. So I hope I didn't bore everyone with that long story. That's a short-winded version of it, but yeah, KCC is all about giving young people that opportunity in Knowsley to sort of have that creative opportunity, because every time statistics come out, Knowsley's always one of the most deprived boroughs in them sort of areas.
Were you always into music, like as a kid, or were you?
Yeah, so my family has a weird sort of music taste. My dad's like a massive Bowie fan. My brother was very into DJing when I was growing up. So like when I was a teenager, I was always in and around sort of dance music. My brother was running his sort of own events with his friends in like Southport and stuff. So I was always interested. I played guitar at a young age. I was in a very cheesy Beatles tribute band, which I shall not talk any more of. And doesn't exist anymore, just to clarify. But yeah, I've always been in and around sort of music. But then I think it was more, I always had this thing when I was in a car or something, I was always intrigued by radio. I don't know what it is, can't put my finger on it. And it weren't the case that when you do radio and you've been doing like a press events and stuff, you meet certain people, and it's a lot of people are in it because they want to be famous or something. And it's like the worst thing you can ever try and get into an industry for, is just to be famous, because it's just, you're in it for the wrong intentions. Like radio is such a unique, weird thing, and it's hard to explain to people who don't do it, but it becomes a big part of everyone's sort of life if you're in it. It's just like, yeah.
If you're in it, you know it, and you.
Yeah, it's like a weird niche genre of things. People will ask certain questions, so I've become a big part of, or try and be a big part of the local music scene. It's a big part of our ethos as KCC. We've been going for 18 years this year, and a big part of that 18 years, about 12, 13 years of it on FM. was to support local talent, and that's something I struck up a bit of a working partnership with LIPA, which is Paul McCartney's school in town, just to give them up and coming artists the platform. And then I've always got an interest in them. I'm always DMing them to be like, so what music you're kind of working on, and a lot of them do let me know earlier on, but you become friends with these people, and it's the same when interviewing people. I've been lucky enough to interview some massive stars, and a lot of them still check in on how we're doing just because of the way we are at KCC Lab, and that's super nice to have that sort of support.
When you over these, what did you say, 18 years it was?
So yeah, the station was established in 2003 as an enrichment programme for Knowsley Community College, and it grew that popular with students because there's nothing in Knowsley sort of like it. It was sort of asked, and students didn't want to leave. They just wouldn't leave. They would just come back and be like, no, I want to carry on with KCC. It became that popular that Hal Evans, who's the founder of it, applied along with a few other people. Chancellor George Sweeney as well was a big part of this. They applied in sort of getting us an FM license in 2009. Well, they applied before then. It takes a little bit of a while, the process, and then in 2009 it was granted. And then ever since December the 1st, 2009, or around that time, December time, 2009, we've been on sort of FM. So a lot of people like myself sort of grew up with it to a point, so it's a bit weird when I meet someone now who's starting college and they go to me, oh yeah, I've listened to you for like a couple of years, and it's just a surreal sort of feeling.
So you started from college and you just applied for an FM license?
So that's how it was done. I went there back then. That was in early days. It was 2003 sort of. So that process took a little bit of time, but yeah, we applied for an FM license, and that's how we sort of became a thing. That's how most sort of community stations, work, because there's always connotations with radio. A lot of people, they'll look at KCC and the look of it and the style of it is very, professional. So a lot of people's connotations with radio is commercial or BBC. And if you think of what we do at KCC, it's like your local boxing gym. It's like a swimming session. We're there for the community. So, what we find is people have to find what's intriguing about them, and it's that we find that because it's just them in a room with a microphone and the voice. And I when I joined KCC at 15, I wouldn't speak in front of people. So the fact that I'm in a room with a few people right now talking about it shows you the impact it has. I've seen it change people's lives, people who just have challenging lives, or people who can't read or write. So that's why it was created, to sort of do all these things, and we continue to do so.
Yeah, when we first got this, and like I first started doing it, it built my confidence, learning how to mix and everything like that. Just put songs on it, built my confidence. Like you said, it just, like, you wouldn't talk in front of people, but like you just on the mic, it just builds your confidence, doesn't it?
It does. It's like people meet me now, and there's like two perceptions. You probably get this as well, where you do your radio show, and people know that version of you. That's just the volume turned up to like 100 or something. And then as soon as I come off air, I'm quite chill. I'm not like bouncing around the room like I am when I'm on air, or I'm laughing and joking with people. I'm not saying I'm boring. I've just made myself out to be proper boring there, didn't I? But no, it's about having a laugh. But it's also just sort of just getting to know people. So it's like very chill in the KCC Lab office. It's like very family vibe and stuff like that. So it's a unique environment.
Could you just like tell us a bit more what you do at KCC?
So yeah, in December 2020, I became station manager. So that sort of changed a little bit what I do. So I create shows. I'm the one who sort of headlines all the training, organises things. So my fingers is in quite a lot of pies within the station, but I also, as you guys probably know, it's like that's the boring stuff, but I also still present a show. I've always presented the show through times at KCC. I took about a year off doing a show a while back, but I was still always doing stuff behind the scenes. But then I sort of came back on air in 2015 and took over our main drive show. And then because I was around the station a lot again, I sort of fell into the position of station manager, which I'm enjoying. It's been a very exciting sort of transition for me. I'm learning a lot of new skills. Things, if you told me back in my college days or in my school days, I would say, nah, I wouldn't do that. I've got an attention span of a squirrel, which it shows you all the skills you can learn. So like, without even realizing it, that's what I found. I found that I'm more of a sort of a leader, and I try and lead by example, and that's all sort of skills I've learned and skill sets I've learned through radio, which is a weird way to learn certain skill sets, but it's fun.
Could you just tell us what your tagline is?
It's the station with attitude, because well, we have a few were known a few years ago as like the home of boss music, but since 2013 it was the station with attitude. But we also, you know, people sort of know us as like young boss scouts, because we're in Heighton, and a lot of our presenters are scouts like me. We're quite fun, we're youthful, you know, we offer the pretty much the young people. It's a young youth station run by young people in Knowsley, for young people in Knowsley as well. Obviously we're also got an initiative with MD Creatives here in St Helens called Hands Across the Mersey, where we're trying to get these sort of more creative opportunities across all boroughs of the Liverpool City region.
Like you said, your tagline involves young. Do you aim for a young audience, or?
Yeah, so you know, we aim. That's always been the core of the station, is the youth of Knowsley. You know, my niece is like 8 and she listens to the station, which is weird because she winds me up, or she'll like message me on WhatsApp, or goes, I don't like this song, why are you playing it? I'm getting told what to do by my own niece who's 8, which is quite nice, but also a little bit like worrying at times. But I think she's going to be a radio person. She has that sort of very into music. But no, we have quite a lot of young listeners and stuff like that, which, you know, we try and cater for a lot. It's what we're there to do.
Like you said, you play to young audiences.
Mm-hmm.
Do you play old stuff as well? Or?
Yeah, so we found with a mix, because sometimes we go with so young, you know, young people going into teenage years, or teenage years going into young adulthood. So that's a big audience in a sense. So we do have people who've grew up with us who are in the 20s now who still listen. We've got people, you know, who obviously if they're in the younger spectrum of our audience, then they're, you know, families are going to listen, you know, they're going to listen with the mum, the dad, the nan, all that stuff. So yeah, we do still, you know, play the odd banger for, you know, the, you know, above our target audience here and there, but yeah, we're mainly for the young people.
Yeah, I'm like 26 and I like the old stuff.
Yeah, do you know what I've found in the last few years is a lot of people like younger people and people in the 20s now. I've got a very collective music taste. A lot of people are liking a lot of old stuff. Like there's a lot of 80s references in music now. You know, Dua Lipa's whole Future Nostalgic album has got very 80s influences in it, and you always find it comes in circles. So I feel like we're about to go into like a 90s phase again. But yeah, we tend to sort of toe the line with old stuff, and obviously we play a lot of current stuff, but yeah, we have got a few sort of old stuff in our system that people can enjoy.
I think I'd probably say like the 70s is the best decade for music.
That's controversial, isn't it? Why the 70s though?
Because you've got like Elton John, you've got Queen.
Okay. He's put me in me place here, isn't he?
Sure. Nolan's.
Yeah.
I'm in the mood for dancing. They're all good songs.
They are, to be fair, 100%. I know era I actually grew up on. As I said, I was in a cheesy Beatles tribute band, so I grew up listening to a lot of the Beatles, and my dad was a massive Bowie fan. So like
Bowie.
Yeah, that's the thing with Bowie. He changed with every album. So what we try and do is, you know, every couple of months we try and keep it fresh. So we're not just the station that sticks with one genre of music. We're not the station that just plays dance music. We're not the station that just plays rock music. Where you could be listening to a rock tune on our station 1 minute, and then it could be an R&B track, or it could be, you know, a 90s banger from the 90s, or it could be something from the noughties, or something that is about to take off in the charts. But a big part of our playlist, and we have a playlist just for it, is as I said, local artists. So that's called the Liverpool Takeover. So that's artists not just from Liverpool, because what we find is a lot of young people, young up and coming artists come to Liverpool. Maybe that's to study at LIP, any other unis, or they just base here because of the music heritage of the city. So we sort of have a playlist just to cater for them. So that's if they're from Liverpool or based here. Or in Liverpool, sorry.
So you were like, basically you need to mix it up, don't you? Not just certain...
That's an important of it, and it's probably one of the biggest skills I ever learned at KCC and you learn it very early on, is you need to cater up for other people. If you just like, dance music, that doesn't necessarily mean just play dance music. No. You need to mix it up, you need to, push the boundaries. And what I found with radio is my music taste changed quite early on. So I then became quite an indie fan, I became a pop punk fan, and I go through phases with it, and I've been lucky enough to interview some of my favourite bands because of that. And then also the best feeling I can ever get is when I get like someone new listening and they message in and they've never heard a band or an artist before, but they message us and go, you guys have got me onto these, I absolutely love them. So yeah, a big one, what we had a lot is Pixie, who's done amazing. She's an up and coming artist who's just been doing amazing things. And we have been doing this thing called Artist of the Month all year, where we pick a selected artist and we play them every day, or give a little bit more information about them, and we get them in to be interviewed on one of our shows, and just give them that little bit of a focus points for people to know that, and that's strictly for local artists. And I say that we've also, and I mentioned MD before, we've got our own music awards coming in February 2022. So as that's in the planning right now, and that's just for sort of local artists, but also the people who go unnoticed in the scene, stuff like tour managers, venues, events, and stuff like that.
So you're giving support to local artists? Yeah,
that's a big part of our ethos as a station. We was like, what isn't around right now? And it's just always been drilled in the ethos. It's one of the first things you learn is every show has a reference to localness in it. And we have a 2-hour show every week called Local and Live with her, who's hosted by a local artist herself, and she knows everyone. Her name's Meg Shaw, you can check it out. And then we have Bronny, who's an artist in her own right as well, who does a show with us, who I trained up in lockdown. So like, to take over a radio station in lockdown and to train people on Zoom is a bit of a weird feeling, but I've got a great team there. And there's also people like Carl James and DJs who have joined us, who have just took the station to a sort of another level, where I feel like people have started noticing the station a little bit more again in the last 18 months or so.
So you said you've been presenting shows and that.
Mm-hmm.
When you've been presenting them, have you ever like froze and like just? So
I remember my first ever live show, and this was going back maybe 2013, and I was he's a good friend of mine, so he won't mind me name dropping him. His name's Rob. He now works for a commercial station in London. And he was doing a show with a girl called Kat at the time, and they were good friends of mine, and they asked me to cover. And before he was going to a meeting or something, he was helping behind the scenes at that point. I remember my first ever live show, I was shaking. I was so shaken, so nervous. People find that weird now because I'm live every day and it's so second nature, but yeah, I froze on the spot or I messed up links a little bit, but that's the great thing about KCC. It's like you learn, no one's gonna, everyone gets, training and the right standard of training, and everyone knows sort of all the stuff that we need to know to be on air and be an FM station. But there's also room there to sort of make mistakes and learn. It's not pressured. It's because you only learn from mistakes. You're always good as your last link sort of thing, I was always told. So I was a sponge. I came into KCC, as I said, in 2011. In that time period, we had so many people at the station who were just absolute technical radio nerds. So I was lucky enough at 15 to just be a sponge and learn from them. And then it's just passing that knowledge on now to sort of my group of volunteers who are also so enthusiastic about radio. So we're just really lucky to have the team we have.
Like when I've been doing it when you've not got a song on or anything, you feel the pressure of like getting a song on, talk. You don't want dead air, so you're trying to get a song on, but you're talking as well.
Or the computer crashes and you've got to talk for like 5 minutes. I've had so many links where something's frozen and I've had to talk for about 5 minutes while someone behind me is fixing something and pressing buttons, so we're back on air and stuff like that. And that's just teamwork, and that comes with just experience. So the best advice I was ever given was, don't beat yourself up too much about things, and always, like, if you've got young nieces, nephews, or just think like you're talking to your best mate, and when you're on air, picture like you're in the room with them or they're sat next to you. And as soon as I started doing that, it sort of became a little bit more natural to me, and people noticed the difference in sort of me presenting. And I do wap me hands about like this when I'm on air, just if people are asking.
You've wrapped your hand about?
Yeah, a lot. I'm very energetic, so. But I think like the most important thing as well is just to have fun with it. If you're having fun, the listener has fun. Because it's very easy to switch on a radio today and it sounds a little bit robotic, or you feel like it's scripted a little bit. Like, I always have odd little bullet points, depends what's on my show that day, but it's very sort of, let's see what's going to happen on today's show, let's have fun. And that's the way I go into every sort of show I do.
Is there any where we could link up with you at KCC?
100%. Like, I've been speaking to some people sort of behind the scenes here at Buzz. It's something I sort of, when I see all the work you're doing and the setup you've got here, for sure. And hopefully, if we can get the stars to align and work on something, then I'd love to see you guys come into KCC and do some stuff there. Because
all the things you've told me just sounds interesting. Could you like help make us bigger and better? And
I'll try, and I'll always. This the one thing I've always learned is always, I'm always collaboration is key, and like, if people, and my advice to you is always ask for, like, I was lucky enough. I'm going to name drop him again. His name's Hal. He founded the station, and he worked in commercial radio as well. So I got to learn off so many people who had been in the industry and know what not to do and what to do. And I remember when I sort of came back on air, I just wanted him to be as brutally honest with me as possible. When it came to how can my links be better, how can I structure them better, and he did. He would always take the time out, and that's the thing with KCC. If someone comes up to me and goes, how can I do this, then I'll stop what I'm doing that second and sort of listen to what they've got and give my honest opinion to help them. So yeah, by all means, like, we're always, open to collabs or advice. If you need advice, then by all means, our DMs are open.
Yeah. Thanks for coming in today.
Oh, thanks for having me. It's been so much fun. It's been a bit weird sat here, but what's been your sort of highlight of Buzz?
Well, yeah, I think the radio.
Radio.
I love the radio. I love doing the radio. I'm picking up new skills and yeah.
What's your favourite part of doing the radio bit?
I'd say like having banter.
Banter.
Having banter, yeah.
Well, keep at it. You're doing absolutely amazing things here. So yeah, thanks for having me again.